Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I want to talk about the greatest threat to the powers that be is not just our unity, but a knowledgeable society. Our population, we want to do things. We always want to do things. We just want to do stuff, right? People come to us and say, well, what do I do? What do we do? And no matter what we tell them, they will bounce here and they will bounce there because the answer is not as sexy as they want it to be. The powers that be need to know that the population is awake and is knowledgeable and is actually making demands of them that are pushing them to do different things. Now, when you say that you don't like Tom Perez as the DNC chair, when you say that you don't like corporate Dems, and when you say that you don't like this, that, and the other, what is it that you do like? What is it that you're pushing for, right? There is no answer other than I just don't like them. Many people don't have a clue why they don't like them either. They're just going with the flow because somebody else said they don't like them. But to make the oligarchy and to make the powers that be actually change, the population needs to be educated and committed to a unified message that goes far beyond just, I don't like Tom Perez. To go far beyond, well, I don't think so-and-so is a good candidate. Who cares who the candidate is? At this point in time, you don't know what you believe. You don't know why you believe it. I have literally sat down with hundreds of different people, and I've gone around and asked people one-on-one, how would you pay for a Green New Deal? Or I go to someone else and say, how would you have paid for Bernie Sanders' plans? To a fault, they don't know. They say raise taxes. They say cut military spending. They say anything but the real answer because they don't know. So when people ask, well, what do we do now, Steve? You learn. Now is the time you crack open a book. Now is the time that you open a link and you learn. Now is the time that you ask questions. It's one thing to want a Green New Deal. It's altogether different than demanding it because you know that we can afford it. It's altogether different when you watch them go forward and you know the battle is going to be. You're going to have to just settle for something. What do you want, Trump? That's what you're going to get. You're going to get a whole lot of, what do you want, Trump? When you stand your ground, when you tell them what it is that you need and how to get there, they're going to just look at you with your head turned sideways and say, what do you want, Trump? That's what you're dealing with. It's a level of ignorance that is so deplorable and so much of a dereliction of your rights as citizens, as your responsibility as a citizen, to be that unwilling to educate yourself, in my opinion, is every bit as bad as what Hillary Clinton did, is every bit as bad as what Donald Trump is doing. It's every bit as bad as the deep state. It's the deep stupid that we've got to fight. The deep stupid is what I'm worried about. When I think about the deep stupid, I really get worried. There's no conspiracy to be had. The deep stupid is right there in your face. I have no idea who the fuck he is talking about. Larry, let me tell you who the fuck I am talking about. I'm talking about people that'll run off to the Democrats, that'll run over here and run over there, but they do not know how to make anything happen. So they won't demand from their establishment or from these counter-revolutionary groups or from the revolutionary groups. They don't know how to demand what needs to happen. So instead of worrying about the deep state, our real enemy is the deep stupid. The deep dullard, the deep idiocy that infects our nation. Because the deep stupid thinks that we should go on the gold standard. The deep stupid doesn't do their homework and read and learn. The deep stupid brings up conspiracies that are readily debunked and doesn't choose to read to know. They think they're chasing after the deep state. Instead, they perpetuate the deep stupid. And that doesn't make the oligarchy or the powers that be fearful. They don't tremble from the deep stupid. They depend on the deep stupid. They depend on us living in a state of chasing after, with firm conviction, the deep stupid. The deep stupid is what is keeping our movement back. And this is one of the very few times where you have the ability to take on the oligarchy one article at a time, one book at a time, one page at a time. You have got an infrastructure of networking through Facebook, through Twitter, through YouTube, you name it. You've got an incredible, vast network available to you so you can ask questions. The concern is not the deep state. The concern is the deep stupid that then tries to tell people that do know what the fuck they're talking about, tries to tell them that's just an opinion. And then they go ahead and they say something that they can't back up. They can't even discuss in any length or depth. And they just say things rather than cracking open a book, rather than cracking open a link and learning how these things happen, to apply pressure in the one area that we can really do it, and that's public policy. We need to get the proles united around economic truth so they can't take away our Social Security. If you believe we need to balance the budget, if you believe we need to reduce the deficit, you're a member of the deep stupid. If you believe that we've got to raise taxes to pay for single-payer health care, you have been co-opted by the deep stupid. And this is the problem now. There are many people that have been caught up in the cult of the deep stupid. And it's up to us to be the people that go in and pull these people out of these cults. The cult of the deep stupid is pervasive. And the deep stupid will destroy our movement and destroy any chance of progress if we don't nip it. So it's not about going out with pussycat doll hats and all that good stuff and screaming about Donald Trump. That's a part of the deep stupid. The deep state isn't afraid. The oligarchy is not afraid. They're not afraid at all. Because they know that even if you flip a couple names around and they give you a different person up at the top of the ticket or whatever, they know that you still don't know what to demand from them. They know you still don't know how to demand what you want and what you need, what we need. So the issue isn't the deep state. The issue isn't the MSM. The issue is our commitment to leaving the deep stupid. And again, how do you do that? You break out a book. You start reading again. I see people when we talk about this stuff, they go, so what do we do now, Steve? What do we do now? You learn and you teach one. Each one teach one. That's how you create a movement. And if everybody taught just one other person, it would start exploding. The deep stupid is a cancer. It's corrosive and it spreads worse than a virus. The deep stupid has hashtag end the Fed because they don't know what the Fed does, so it sounds good. So they slap that bumper sticker on their car and go, yeah, man, I'm an economic revolutionary, dude. The deep stupid is very, 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 very pervasive. And until we overcome the deep stupid and we start admitting, I don't know what's going on. How do I learn? Show me where to learn. And the people that know, it's your responsibility, it's my responsibility, it's your responsibility to be there with information, to take the time to teach, to take the time to mentor people through the questions that they have, to take the time to then in turn get them prepared to tell somebody else. And that's how we build this thing, one person at a time. It's going to require one person at a time. At the end of the day, they lie to us such a degree that many of us have our heads swimming in stupid. And we don't know how to get out of it. We don't know how to break out of it. And I'm telling you right now, the answer is to learn. The answer is to educate yourself and to work with others. And if you think you found some nugget of gold and you're digging in the deep stupid, chances are you're wasting your time on something that is inactionable. The answers are simple as hell. Why do we not want to go on the gold standard? Well, the gold standard's never worked out for anybody. People have always abandoned the gold standard because when you peg your currency to a commodity, you're subject to the swings of that commodity. And then if somebody finds a nice ore somewhere and all of a sudden the market is flooded with gold, the dollar goes through the roof and inflation everywhere. And then all of a sudden they got to get rid of the gold standard and go back to a fiat currency because it is stupid. It is part of the deep stupid. Gold standard people are part of the big stupid, and we need to break them out of their gold fetish. We need to break the debt and deficit hawks out of their deep stupid. They're part of the deep stupid. You see this? We're not going to talk deep state because there's not a damn thing you can do about the deep state. You can't even get the friggin' currency right. You can't even understand what a fiat currency is. Fiat currencies have been around forever. Every single monarchy has printed their fiat, by decree. And yet you've got these people running around thinking they found the nugget of gold. They found the answer to life. And they're telling everybody, and it's hashtag end the Fed. And in the meantime, people are literally dying because they don't have health care. People are literally dying because they don't have health care. And it's completely avoidable. Now, if any of you all have ever lost your job, raise your hand. I lost my job. And guys, I did do the homework. I did the studying. I got the degrees. I got the certifications. I went apeshit trying to prepare myself. And then the crash hit. And guess what? The grass was this high in my front yard. I was looking through the slats of the windows to make sure the guy coming to give me a eviction notice wasn't there. I was looking in my mailbox to see if they were going to repossess my car that didn't even have reverse. I've been there before. The deep stupid makes us do stupid things. And as I sat there and lived that, I realized something's got to change, because if I, a guy who did go out and get the degrees, a guy that went and got these certifications, if I did that and I still can't keep my head above water, how much more difficult is it for other people that get in the same spot? Something had to change. I couldn't put my finger on it. I couldn't understand how this could be possibly true. And people educated me. They took the time to educate me. And folks, I had an MBA. I had been through all the classical economic training you could get. You're not telling me anything I don't know. That's not bragging. I genuinely know this stuff. And I had to unlearn a lot of it because they taught it based on 1971 and before. So the textbooks got it wrong, and you're sitting there going, oh my God, he just told me to open a book, and he's just sitting there telling me the textbooks are wrong. Now what do we do? Well, there's a group of people that figure this stuff out, did their doctoral thesis on it, did all kinds of digging. It started with people like Warren Mosler, with Stephanie Kelton, with Bill Mitchell. It started with Wray. And these people did their homework. And then they created people that knew the stuff too. Matt Forstater, Scott Fulweiler, William Black. And the list goes on and on and on. And they are the real truth tellers. You want to be a truth teller. You want to be a revolutionary. I'm giving you some names of people to help you go to that next level. You want to know how to take this back and how to fix what's screwed? Open a book. Not just any book, a good one. And I'll give you links. I always do, but I'll give you more. The names that I'm giving you are solid. They get this. So when the next election comes around and they tell you, we've got to make some hard choices, we're going to have to cut Social Security, you have the ammo to say you're lying. Right now, you can't even do it. You're like, well, how come other countries can do it? We can't. That's the answer. That's not the answer. That's not the answer. The answer is, let me talk to you about the very unique situation of the United States. The United States is monetarily sovereign. The United States is a net importer. The United States has a lot of policy space with its fiat currency to go ahead and solve poverty, to solve healthcare, to solve education, to fix Social Security. And I say fix it, I'm talking about expand it and get rid of FICA altogether. It could provide a federal job guarantee to literally stop the capitalists from destroying the working class man and institute a form of democratic socialism that we all beg for, so that nobody, including the Trumpers, suffer. Even the Trumpers would do well. Even the Clintonites would do well, even though they don't deserve to do well after what they did to our nation. Giving us Trump was the Clinton gift. But we could literally fix this now. We could fix it now. If that doesn't make you crazy, knowing that we could fix it now, nothing will. Not in 30 years. Now, right? Like now. That right there makes me go nuts. And that's why I'm telling you, open a book. Do your homework. Be a good citizen and care enough to read. If you don't know the answer to it, ask a question. People's lives are literally on the line for you to learn this. This is not like some academic exercise. This is the revolution. Do you think these people that are doing neoliberalism are doing it because they like to do business a certain way? Or do you think they're doing it because of economics? Let me just ask you, if the powers of our oppressor are economics, how important is it to learn fucking economics? Your enemy is using economic warfare. You've got to learn how to beat your enemy. And your enemy is smart. And your enemy is depending on you to stay in the deep stupid. Your enemy is depending on you to follow people that don't understand economics. It's dependent on you to stay stupid, and they are banking on it. They trust that you're not going to open a book. They trust that you won't go ahead and read a link, and they trust that you're too lazy. They trust this. This is not like I wonder if. They trust that you are too lazy to be bothered to learn. They trust that. And you know what? So far, they've been right. So far, the enemy has been right. So you want to know how to win this thing. What do we do now? What do we do? You open a book. And not some gold bug bullshit book. Not some monetarist book. Not some, well, wouldn't it be great in 400 years if we had a resource-based economy that no capitalist will ever sign on for? That would take a true revolution in a way that we don't have right now? What we do have is a transitional phase where we can begin laying the groundwork for a new tomorrow that none of us even know what it is. It's not old classical socialism from back in the Eugene Debs Marx era. It's something new and empowering, but we have to push through the transition. To get there, you've got to understand economics because the enemy does. The enemy knows how to do economics, folks. The enemy is telling you that deficits matter. The enemy is telling you that deficits matter in a way that they don't matter. Deficits do matter in a good way. If you are a net importer, that means your money is leaving your country. You have two choices of how to get money back going into your world. One is private credit, which means that it's got to be paid back and does absolutely nothing to expanding the economy. Or two, your federal government needs to deficit spend. So when you see people say worthlessly that we need to reduce the deficit, and that includes Bernie too. When you hear Bernie say we got to worry about the deficit, you need to tell Bernie, I love you, but guess what? You need to shut the fuck up, dude. You're wrong. You're wrong. And see, if you don't know that you're right, and you can't say, if you can't speak truth to your heroes, who can you speak it to? Hey, Bernie, you're wrong. Wow. Is the only way Bernie can be wrong that he supported Hillary? Is that the only thing that you're allowed to say he was wrong about? Why can't you say Bernie was wrong about saying we got to reduce the deficit? He's wrong. Why is that? Because it literally shrinks our policy space. Shrinking the deficit is austerity. It's austerity. Do you get this? They are depending on you staying stuck in the deep stupid. And for all the people chasing the deep state, good for you. Create a board game someday. Create a video game someday so we can play it. I'd love to play a role-playing game of chasing after the deep state. Break out my double guns, go hunting for some spies, some dudes. But I want to solve for Medicare for all today. I want to worry more about saving people's lives today. But I do want to play the video game when it's created. I think that would be kick-ass. So, at the end of the day, remember this. There is an orthodoxy. The orthodoxy says this is what the narrative is. If you don't repeat the narrative, you're going to be kicked out of the club. So this is what the orthodoxy says is the narrative. But the truth, well, the truth is right here, and it's not the narrative they're peddling. So the people that step out of line and the orthodoxy get kicked out of the club. They can't make changes. They can't fit. So it's up to us to kick the door down. Some of these people that are in high places, that are economists even, are stuck having to say certain things in very, very gentle ways to stay relevant, or they will be booted out of the club. It's up to you and I to open a book, to watch a video, to learn. And let's say one more thing here. Modern monetary theory is about as much of a theory as gravity, even though theory is a very scientific term that shouldn't scare anybody with a brain. For many of the brainless out there, and I mean the deep stupid, right, that say, it's just a theory, man. It's just a theory. As an apple falls from the sky and hits them on the head, right? Because gravity's just a theory. You know what I'm talking about? The deep stupid at play right there. It's just a theory, Steve. The deep stupid hard at work. So here's the deal, right? If you want to see the change, if you want to understand, you need to learn how our economic and finance system works today. Not how Billy Bob at the bar told you about, well, JFK was killed by executive order 1111111111110. And back in The Creature of Jekyll Isle in 1913, it came out of the water and was a big octopus and it ate the world. MMT is just a description, folks. It's a description of how currency works. It's a description of how our economy works. It can be used by Republicans to create massive armies and to spread fear amongst the world. Or it can be used by progressives to provide an incredible life full of single parent. People are no longer dying because they can't afford to go to the doctor. It can afford to go to college because it's part of their plan as being a citizen. You see what I'm saying? This is not a matter of, well, when we implement MMT, when we implement it, that some other day, when we implement it, MMT is. It's already happening with or without your knowledge. It is what it is. The difference is that the deep state is depending on the deep stupid to stay stuck worrying about, oh my God, the United States government's going broke. The printer of the money is going broke. It can't print any more money. It can't print any more money. Well, good news. We don't print money like that, folks. We keystroke deposits. That's how it's done. It's not like the printing press. They're just rolling and rolling and rolling. They keystroke shit, just like they do for the military-industrial complex. They sit there and say, hey, Joey, you need another B-52 bomber? Hey, right up. That's how it's done, folks. But the difference will be, hey, we got families over here that are in total distress. We need to help them out. That's the progressive view of MMT. You understand what I'm saying? It's not something to be implemented. It's time for you to stop looking victory in the face and saying, but debt and deficits are scary. China, what about China? It's time for you to own your power, learn, demand, and resist, and fight like hell, and demand that your government serves our needs. But you can't get there if you're stuck in the deep stupid. If you're chasing the deep state and you're missing the facts, when you get your next progressive up there, whether it be Tulsi, whether it be horrible Elizabeth Warren, the sellout queen herself, or whether it be some other progressive that believes in reducing the deficit, that believes in we got to raise taxes to pay for things. When you get the next progressive up there, if you don't teach them and demand, no. Because you know what? The Republicans, they've all signed a pledge. Maybe you didn't know this. They all signed the Grover Norquist pledge that said they will not raise taxes. If they raise taxes, they'll get primaried. Taxes are not required to spend. Tula, what? Taxes are not required to spend. Taxes serve a very, very, very vital, important role. But one of those roles is not to fund things. Do we need taxes? Absolutely. Do we need them the way they are today? Absolutely not. Do they need to be on us the way they are? Absolutely not. Could we lift FICA? Absolutely. Do we really pay into Social Security? Is that really our money? No. Your money is deleted. Your tax dollars are deleted. They don't recycle that shit. The problem with socialism in a modern monetary environment is not that you run out of other people's money. It's that people are living in the deep stupid and think you do. We have the ability to provide a federal job for every single person on the planet. We could do it for everybody, but let's just say we could do it for our own country. Folks, we can solve poverty today if you care enough to open a book. Next time someone says, what do we do, Steve? Or next time someone asks you, what do we do? Tell them, learn modern monetary theory, and demand that our government serve our needs. Demand a green energy package. Demand single payer. Demand free college for all. Demand it, demand it, demand it. Tell your kids so we can make this guy's life better. That's great. That's great. Hey, Matt, let me ask you a question. What do you think about modern monetary theory, Matt? Do you know anything about it? I'm just curious. Do you know anything about it, Matt? Because I get a little bit, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit sadistic in this sense. When people puff up and they say things and they don't know what they're talking about, then I get a little sadistic and I go after them like freaking jugular, like just full force, zero focus, bore in, and then I become the troll. When you say things and you don't know what you're talking about and people are dying, I make you the whipping boy. That's when I go full bore right at you. And I embarrass you because you deserve to be embarrassed. If you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, you learn. That's what you do is you learn. You learn. You never fucking speak out of turn if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. People are dying. That's the deal. That's the deal. People are dying because of morons stuck in the deep stupid. Worthless morons stuck in the deep stupid, killing people, murderers by proxy. The deep stupid. You're stuck in it, man. It's time for us to pull you out. So with that, me and Ellis Winningham, tonight, 8 o'clock, and he is as jacked up as I am, folks. Me and him are going to put on a show tonight of epic proportions. We're both pissed, we're jacked, we're amped, and we're ready to take on the dull-witted people of the world that act like they know, but know not. So with that, I'm Steve from Real Progressives. Join us on YouTube. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us right here on Real Progressives. With that, I'm out.